Alien Earth episode 5 dropped, and let me tell you something, even though it showed us what happened before the series even began and we knew what happens to every crew member and to the ship itself, this has been their best episode so far, and the ratings show it with 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb. This had me going yo in excitement as if I'm watching Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler. The episode titled iconically In Space No One shows us the events that led to the crash of USCSS Maginot research vessel that kicked off the series. A lot happened here, so if you have not seen the previous episodes, and especially this episode in particular, go watch it because I am going to spoil some stuff. We found out that one of the crew members sabotaged the ship in his deal with Boy Cavalier, still not sure if that is his name or just what he goes by, to land in Prodigy City on purpose, which further displays his sinister ambition. We get a clear idea why Morrow didn't let the last surviving member of the crew, Captain Zaverny, into the escape pod with him, and we learn more about Morrow's character and motivation. But by far, the highlight of this episode for me and for a lot of the audience was this little eyeball thing called Ocellus, and that is what I'm going to talk about. The Ocellus, or the image, was introduced in the first episode along with other alien creatures that the Maginot crew collected during their voyage, and it has been the most interesting one by far. We first saw it possessing a cat's body, which seemingly was cooked after or during the crash, as the cat could not walk, and it quickly tried to jump on Nibs, which seemingly traumatized her, understandably. We then saw Kirsch and the image looking at each other with curiosity as the specimens were brought into the Prodigy Island lab, and then we got the heartbreaking goat scene. Now, already there is something to point out. When the Ocellus jumped at Nibs, it was quick and did so without hesitation, probably considering the deteriorated condition of its host. Here, however, it slowly gets out and checks what's happening, before viciously killing the goat and replacing its eyeball. This is clearly a highly intelligent and sentient life form that operates based on some kind of criteria, likely stemming from survival, needs, and instincts, as well as the observations it has made while in the lab. After possessing the goat, it decides to go bipedal before going back on all fours and starts eyeballing Kirsch right away. The brainwaves confirm that this is an intelligent creature, and then Boy Cavalier gets its attention and tries to almost talk to it. Now, at this point, it's already some nightmare stuff that raises a lot of questions about this creature, and we got several new life forms in this show, besides the xenomorph, but the image is by far the fan favorite. Now, before we go to the events of episode 5, let's talk about the cooperative eye hypothesis. Why does this creature, which is an eye with tentacles, have whites around the pupils, otherwise known as sclera? Some research suggests that the human eye evolved to have white sclera in order to detect where we look while communicating. Why does this alien species have white sclera? I have no idea, but I think it suggests a certain form of cooperative behavior that I'm going to speculate has something to do with what we see in episode 5. During episode 5, we see that Chibuzo, who seems to be the main scientist on board, is eating her sandwich and drinking her water, while the image is observing her. And shortly after, we see this thick bug thing get out of the container by figuring out how to pick it, which means that this species is intelligent as well as disgustingly terrifying. And the Oculus sees it escape, and here we have some split opinions on why it knocks on the glass, because it knocks on the glass, almost trying to warn or distract Chibuzo. Now, I personally think that it was trying to warn her, because having a different parasite kill potential intelligent hosts does not benefit the Ocellus. That also indicates that the image is familiar with other species on board and knows what they do. If they were all collected from the same moon, that explains it, and considering that these are all parasite-type species, we can expect them to compete with each other, not coexist. Going back to the cooperative eye hypothesis, it's not crazy to assume that the Ocellus prefers human hosts that are alive and likely has some kind of connection with them that I can't figure out at this point. Now, shortly after this, the image slingshots its way out of the container, and this could be because of the chaos it is looking to exploit, or because it tries to secure a host as soon as possible before they are all dead. Now, later on, when Zaverny is running away from the xenomorph and stumbles across Shmuel just standing there, we find out that the image has already possessed him. Why was it standing there doing nothing? I don't know, but I'm guessing it was collecting data from Shmuel, maybe? It doesn't kill Zaverny, but knocks her out and removes her from Xenomorph's line of sight, which leads to it leaving to find another way in. Later on, when Morrow comes in, the Ocellus possessed Shmuel recognizes that it has a weapon pointed at it and makes a sound that calls the xenomorph back to distract Morrow, which basically confirms how familiar this species is with the Xenos and how it knows how to communicate with them. And then the coolest thing happens. The image, using Shmuel's body, does a sick jump and takes Xenomorph's back like Prime Damien Maya and just starts biting it from behind, probably knowing the weak spots. When the host body becomes useless, it straight up jumps at the Xenomorph in its eye form and starts swinging like there is no tomorrow, and the Xenomorph is visibly distressed and ends up running around trying to get away before inevitably coming back to kill Zaverny. This part had me super excited because it came out of nowhere. Is this eye thing the actual big dog? How does it know so much about other species, how to communicate with other species, and how to attack other species? Why is it so smart when there is no room for a brain? It's just an eye with some tentacles. Where do you put a brain? Also, does the fact that it used Shmuel's vocal cords to communicate with the xenomorph have anything to do with Wendy's ability to communicate with xenomorphs? There is a lot to ask and unpack here, and I gotta say I'm excited to find out what the answers are. We only have 3 episodes left in the season, with the next one being titled The Fly, and the one after it being Emergence, and the last episode of the season is titled The Real Monsters. And I hope that we, as in the people, are not the real monsters. That's the dumbest archetype in fiction, and I really hope and believe that is not the direction that the story goes, but we'll find out. So yeah, very cool episode. Leaves us waiting for more. And yeah, thank you and have a nice day.